Hey guys, and this week I built some floating shelves in my studio closet. Stick around and I'll show you how. This project is sponsored by Liquid Nails Fuse It. I built the ribs for my floating shelves out of 2x2 lumber using Liquid Nails Fuse It adhesive and 3-inch cabinet screws driven into the studs in the wall. I applied the Liquid Nails Fuse It to the wall or the board or both, and then pressed the board to the wall, and the instant grab acted as a third hand and held my 2x2 in place until I was able to secure the 2x2 with screws. I set up my laser level for each shelf to give me a level line to reference as I was installing each shelf. All of the shelves will be secured to the wall on 3 sides. On the side of the shelves that ran into the angled ceiling, I used my table saw and cut those shelf supports at an angle to match the ceiling. And then I wet both surfaces before I applied my Liquid Nails Fuse It because it makes it bond faster. I used some nails and 1 screw because that's the only stud that I could hit on that side, which is an additional reason why I need the extra strength of the adhesive. And I'm not bothering with drilling pocket holes. I'm just driving my self-drilling, self-tapping screws in at an angle. And for the most part, they work really well without splitting the wood, although sometimes it happens. And when that did occur, I just bulked up the bracing with an extra block and then drove in an extra screw. I'm using a big glob of adhesive and 1 screw in each joint. And when you get the adhesive on the wall, if you get it before it dries, it wipes right off. After attaching the front of the shelves, I put in all of the dividers. I used the adhesive and screws, but I only attached the front screw until all of the dividers were in place because I was pulling forward on that front piece to allow me to slide the divider in without scraping off all of the adhesive while I slid it into place. I used a clamp to keep both surfaces flush with each other while I drove a screw in at an angle through the divider and into the back cleat. I built 3 10-inch deep floating shelves on the main wall and then 1 deeper shelf against the back wall under the slanted ceiling. After I built the 2x2 skeletons, I put plywood on the top and bottom of each shelf. I used 1/4-inch plywood for the bottoms and 1/2-inch plywood for the tops. I applied a bead of Liquid Nails Fuse It along the perimeter and the dividers and then pressed the plywood into place. The bond held really well, so I just shot some 23 gauge pin nails in there to hold it in place and make sure it stayed until the adhesive set. The bottom shelf is over 8 feet long, so I had a seam. I just made sure that I cut both pieces to end in the center of a divider so that I could shoot nails into the divider on both ends of the seam. I used Liquid Nails Fuse It and nails on all of my shelves and just repeated the process until it was finished. I did bevel the ends of the angled shelves so that they fit nicely into place. I used primed pine 1x3s for my fronts, and I put adhesive on the 2x2 and tried to squiggle it onto the top plywood as well because I wanted to bond that face to both of those surfaces. Then I used my 16 gauge nail gun and shot some nails into the face to make sure that it stayed in place until the adhesive had time to cure. The larger shelf in the back of the room was a little bit trickier. I used 1/2-inch plywood on the top and the bottom to add a little extra strength, but that extra weight on the bottom made it heavier and harder to hold in place without any extra clamps, so it was a little tricky. I had to take a little rest after that activity before finishing up the room. I was thinking after I got the flooring installed, I'd put a brace under this one. I don't want it in the way while I'm trying to install the flooring because this closet is small enough area already. Don't want to have to be working around a brace. And then I can stack 2 bins high underneath here. And over here, I'm planning on having some honestly what I'm going to put in here. Right now, I'm going to take all of the tools that I have laying all over the place in the rest of my studio and put them in here very nicely. And then when I'm done building my studio, put other stuff in here. That's my plan. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.